You know, we're always told that the way out of our information bubbles is to go find new information, right? But what if that's not it? What if the real exit is about having a better system to judge the information you already have? Well, this explainer is going to dig right into a paper that makes a compelling case for exactly that.
Okay, so what we're diving into today is a paper called Systematicity of Scientific Knowledge, the way out of epistemological bubbles and echo chambers. It's written by Mohammad, Ashouri, Kisomi, and Maryam Parvizi.
And it was published in the journal Wisdom and Philosophy. So we've got a really solid academic framework here for tackling, honestly, one of the biggest epistemic puzzles of our time.
And this question right here, this is what changes the game. Instead of this endless, exhausting hunt for more data, the paper forces us to look inward. It suggests the solution isn't about what we know, but how we know it. And that's a subtle but really powerful shift in perspective.
So, before we can even get to the proposed solution, the paper starts by diagnosing the problem, framing it all within this messy post-truth world we're living in.
Now that term gets thrown around a lot, I know. But for our purposes here, post-truth means something very specific. It's a state of play where objective facts just have less sway over public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. That's the essential backdrop for everything that follows.
And within this post-truth era, the authors say there are two key sicknesses, two informational pathologies we have to get a handle on: epistemic bubbles and echo chambers. They might sound like the same thing, but the difference between them is absolutely crucial.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. See, an epistemic bubble works by omission. It's passive. Outside sources are just left out, so you literally don't hear the other side. But an echo chamber, well, that's way more insidious. It works through active discrediting. You might actually hear about the other side, but you're constantly being told why they're fools or liars or just can't be trusted. One silences, the other actively undermines.
So this brings us to the core challenge the paper takes on. If you're an individual, an epistemic agent, as they say, stuck inside one of these things, how do you find a way out? I mean, most solutions assume someone from the outside has to come and pop the bubble for you. But this paper asks, what if you have to find the exit all by yourself?
And this is where the paper introduces its big idea, a toolkit, a framework, based on Paul Hoyning and Huna's theory of systematicity.
So what in the world is systematicity? Well, the theory is actually pretty elegant. It suggests that the real difference between scientific knowledge and, say, everyday knowledge isn't some fundamental divide. It's a difference in degree. Scientific knowledge is simply more systematic. It's more ordered, more structured, more methodologically sound.
And the magic word here, as this quote points out, is comparative. This is huge. The theory avoids that old philosophical trap of trying to draw some perfect, bright line between what is science and what isn't. Its real power, the authors argue, is that it just gives us a way to compare different systems of knowledge.
Okay, so if it's all about comparison, how do you actually do it? Well, the theory breaks down this idea of systematicity into 9 specific dimensions. Let's take a look inside the toolkit. Here they are. This is the checklist, the basis for comparison. You've got the basics, like description and explanation, but then you get into more complex stuff, like how well it handles critical discourse, or how well its claims are all connected to each other. That's epistemic connectedness. Now the key is, these aren't just yes or no questions. Think of them as sliders, as scales. The whole argument is that scientific claims are just going to score higher across the board.
And that is the absolute critical point. It's a spectrum. A belief system inside an echo chamber. Sure, it might have descriptions and explanations, but scientific knowledge will have more systematic ones. It'll have a more robust defense, better predictions, and so on down the line. It's a difference of degree, not kind.
Okay, so we've got the diagnosis of the problem, and we've got this theoretical toolkit. Now let's see how the paper says you can actually use it to build a rational path out of a bubble or a chamber.
The paper lays out this clean 4-step process that anyone can use. Step 1, take a claim from your community. Let's call it claim E for echo chamber. Step 2, find the corresponding scientific claim, S. Step 3, and this is the whole engine right here, you compare E and S across those 9 dimensions we just saw. How good is the explanation? How is new knowledge generated? Finally, step 4, the claim that is demonstrably more systematic, that's the one you can bet is more reliable.
And you see what this does. This is the game changer. It empowers the individual. It puts the tool in your hands. The person inside the bubble doesn't have to wait for some external savior to come along and rescue them. It gives them a framework to test the walls of their prison from the inside.
It's all about restoring that epistemic agency.
So all of this brings us to the paper's conclusion, and really the big question: is this actually a viable way out?
Well, the authors, Ashouri, Kisomi, and Parvizi, they conclude with a pretty confident yes. They argue that this systematicity framework offers a truly viable, rational method for a person to tell the difference between the knowledge inside their closed community and scientific knowledge. By giving them a tool for direct comparison, it makes a self-directed escape possible.
But I want to leave you with this final thought, this one nagging question. The paper gives us this powerful, rational tool, but we all know echo chambers aren't just held together by bad logic. They're bound by incredibly strong social ties, by emotion, by identity. So the question that remains is this: is a rational framework, all on its own, really enough to break those bonds? That's a critical question for all of us thinking about this stuff.